all, and welcome to episode 12 of our Satisfactory playthrough. We are, well, 2 buildings deep into the Mega Factory, and judging by this colossal monstrosity of a square that we've got sitting on the ground, you can see that we're starting the 3rd of our Mega Factory builds. This is going to be the Constructor building, obviously. So believe it or not, this entire massive square of constructors I've laid out is for one belt of iron ingots. That smelter produces 4 belts of iron ingots, 3 belts of copper, and a belt of caterium. So this is just for the screws. So I've got it worked out so that 1 belt will come in and 6 belts of screws will go out. So I'll just jump down here and I'll give you a bit of a closer look at what I've done so far. Yep. Right. So as you can see over here, this is probably the most critical part of the build. For a Mark IV belt, you can have 5 constructors producing screws, and after you've had 5 constructors producing screws, you'll actually have a Mark IV belt completely full. So there's no point having any more than 5 constructors connected to one Mark IV belt, which is why I've got them 10 wide. So the first 5 are going to be going onto this belt that goes across the top, and the next 5 are going to be going onto the belt underneath. So we'll have 2 belts of screws right there. We'll have another 2 belts here, and a further 2 belts over here. Hopefully that's all pretty clear and makes sense. So that's the key to this whole construction so far. I'll show you a quick tip though, because if I were to come through and build these splitters first, then I would not be able to place that conveyor belt. So what you need to do, I'll quickly demonstrate that. So as you can see, we've got one of the mergers still here. I cannot connect that belt because there's, encroaching others' clearance, aka this splitter here, or merger I should say. If I remove this merger, then chuck that belt up, and then I come through, grab more mergers, place them down like so, you'll notice that it allows us to place these mergers down even though there's a belt directly above it. So this is a tip and a bit of a trick that I use in a lot of my factory designs. So in the tutorial I created a few days ago now, there was a trick similar to this to be used so that I could have a belt of coal and a belt of iron running together. So I had iron across the top and coal along the bottom. I'm just using this so that I can have 2 full belts of screws just for space efficiency, because this thing's getting ridiculously huge already as it is. Also, another quick thing while it's in my head before I forget. The reason that I've built all the screws at the bottom is because you want your things that produce the least amount of items at the top of your factories. Because if I were to put all of these screws at the top of the factory, I would need to try and get 6 belts of screws down, which is going to be an absolute feat. But if I just build these on the ground, then it's fine. I can just pull them out on the ground. So this is the screw floor. So the next floor that we're going to build above this is going to be the copper floor. So I'm going to do 2 floors of, well, yes, two floors of the plain, I believe they're called wire? Yeah. So we're going to do 2 floors of wire and then a floor of copper cable, or cable. Because the wire is obviously a 45 per constructor deal. So we're going to fill up our belts a lot quicker, and I'll put the steel plate right at the very top because it's nowhere near as important due to the fact we don't make very much of it, because it takes 2 belts of iron ore to make 1 belt of iron plate. And basically that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to come through and build another floor on top of this, because that's our screw production done. Well, obviously I'll go through off camera and do all the boring stuff, the conveyor belts and the power, but you guys don't need to see that. So this is the start of it. I'll quickly jump off, go build all these foundations, make a floor, design a copper wire floor, and then I'll be back with you. I was just quickly running back from the base and I thought this would be a great opportunity to show you guys that I built a little skyway to hitch a ride on the Manta. So, if you didn't know, you can actually grab onto these dudes and ride them around the map and get a good view of what your map looks like. So I've just built this little tiny sky deck in such a way that he'll fly underneath and he just scoops you up off the sky deck and flies you around the map. I would do it, but the journey around the map on the back of him, he goes all the way up around there, past the desert and back again. You can see the entire Satisfactory map. It takes about 35 minutes, so I'm not going to do it today, but I may at some point in the future make a time lapse just cruising around and looking at the mega base once we build it up a bit more. So there you go. There's a cheeky little tidbit. I'm going to get back to getting more constructors built. I had to go get some more reinforced iron plates, so I ran out. So I'll get back to that. I'll see you in a sec then. Hey guys, so been busy. As you can see, I've got another layer done on the constructor floor. So this floor is slightly different to the last one, as you can see. The main difference is obviously because we don't have two constructors end to end anymore. So I've got one constructor row here that's 10 long, and that'll be doing copper cable. 10 constructors will fill one Mark IV belt with wire. Sorry. So the wire comes out of these 5 and those 5 right here. Look, hopefully I'll make it a little easier to see. So I've got 5 of these against each other like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they'll all connect, and that'll be one full belt of wire. And then for the next 5, I've done the same thing as the previous floor, and I've just sneaked it underneath, because that way we can have 2 belts coming out of the same spot. Oof, lag spike. Gets kind of bad when I look over there at the conveyors already. I'm scared as to what this is going to be like once I finish building it. I'm going to have to like walk around the map doing these ones, pretending like it's not here. But anyway, so this floor has an input for copper here and another input on the other side over there, because this one floor alone will take up 2 belts worth of copper ingots, which is convenient because it has 2 belts of copper ingots come in, and it will produce 6 belts of wire, copper wire, coming out. So hopefully that's it's easy enough for you to see how I've done that. Just splitter, constructor, merger, constructor, splitter, constructor, merger, constructor, so forth, all the way along. And then it's 10 deep if you want to build it yourself. And that'll give you about as good as I can get space efficiency wise. I could shove these into each other a little bit, obviously, but I don't like doing that because it means that if the game updates in the future and we get better belts, I won't be able to come through here and upgrade them or anything. They'll just be stuck in there. So that's why I don't like doing that. So, nevertheless, I'll get busy and move on to the next floor of the factory. So we've got the wire, the copper wire, we've got the screws, which are the 2 biggest pains in the butt, because that's 12 belts worth of stuff just there. The next one I think we'll move on to is probably going to be the rods, I would say. I think the rods would be the best thing, or potentially the quick wire. We'll see. I'll do some math and we'll work out whether the next floor is going to be the quick wire constructor floor or the rod constructor floor. Righto, I'll be back with you when it's done. Hey guys, as you can see, I've finished adding the 3rd floor to our constructor square awesome mega building thing. And as you can see, there's a little bit of belt trickery going on. So what I've done is I've got the iron plates over on that half, and I've got the iron rods on this half. I'll go show you the belt trickery I'm talking about, because I needed to do a little bit of janky stuff. So in the middle here, I didn't quite have enough space to do what I wanted without compressing it and ruining the look of the factory. So what I've done is a double stack conveyor splitter. If you guys want to see how I built one of these, make sure you leave a like down below and leave a comment telling me, you know, hey, Aussie, show us how you do the mad stacking of the splitter thing, and I'll be sure to do it. Also though, if you're smart enough to just work it on your own, key point is make sure that you connect the diagonal ones upwards before you place the lower splitters. Because if you don't, you can't actually place these. So there you go. Also, the trickery over here that I'm talking about is we've got 30 constructors, and we need to produce one belt of iron plate. And the astute among you may realize that you actually need 15 constructors to do, you know, steel plate. Like, that's, you can only fund 15 constructors with a belt of, you know, Mark IV iron. So it comes in, and you'll see that on this line, we've actually got 20 constructors here, 10 on each side. So if you have, you know, a splitter that comes in and it goes 10 here, and then it goes 20 here, you're like, the math doesn't work out. So what you have to do is merge your two belts in the middle, so that way you get a third of the belt down here, or a third of the belt will come in, sorry, start again. So you'll get 2/3 of the belt down there, and a third will come into here when this all backlogs. Same with this, you'll get 2/3 down the bottom, and a third will come in here when it backlogs. So, yeah, you've got 2/3, 2/3, and 2/3. Basically, this is just a 2 to 3 splitter, but stacked in a nice, neat fashion. So, the way that I did this was obviously I came through, built this top belt first, and then built the top belt coming around the corner, and neatly coming down and connecting to this merger. And then once I'd placed this merger and everything, all the nice neat belts, I then came through and did that splitter, and that splitter. Not that this one really matters, but because for whatever reason, you can place these after the belts there, but they won't let you place the belts on top of these, which I think is a weird design choice. Like, you would think they'd just allow you to do that, but apparently not. So there you go. This funky little design makes all of this possible. If you want a more in-depth look at how to do this flooring, then, you know, ask for a tutorial or something, and I'll get through and I'll get one done so that it's nice and easily stackable for you guys. At any rate, that's the iron rod's done and the iron plate's done. So now all we've got left is the cables. So the copper cables and the quick wire. The quick wire is super easy. A whole belt of quick wire only needs 7.5 constructors, so I'll probably just go do that somewhere else. There's no need to dedicate a massive floor in my mega smelter for it. I'll probably just put it off to the side down there or something. But yeah, I'm going to get into it, and we're going to construct the last floor of this, which will be the copper cable. I'll be back with you once I've done that. Hey guys, so that's floor number 4 all laid out, ready to roll. So you'll notice that there's 5 of these cheeky little constructors on the end. This is actually the caterham, so I can only get in 300 caterham currently, because I've got a Mark II miner way down there maxed out, until I make the journey to the next pure node, which is way over there, and bring it all the way into the base. This is as much as I can produce currently anyway. There's also room for expansion, so I have 5 there right now, which will do 300 caterham ore, because 1 caterham ore goes into, you know, a fourth, so it'll be 0.25 caterham ore. Oh, what's up with the bouncing? Oof. There we go. Yeah, so it basically gets divided by 4, and then in the constructor it gets times by 4 again, so it's 1-to-1 as far as ore to quick wire goes. So therefore, once I get the 450, I just need to plop another, I think it's like 3, how many go there, 5? Yeah, another 3, which will give me 8, and then I'll cut 1 in half. And yeah, there you go. That's the caterham. Obviously, to get this done, to get this to squeeze in here, I had to squish down the cables a little bit. So what I was saying I don't like doing, I've done, and I've squished them all together a little bit as much as I can. And yeah. Also, this floor has a dirty little secret, unfortunately. So with the cable, it's one of the only resources in the game where the math doesn't really check out 1-to-1. So I've got one, you know, solid Mark IV belt coming into this, which of copper ingots, and then you'll notice these constructors turn a copper ingot 15 per minute into 45, but the cable only asks for 30. So I had to ponder on this for a while. I was like, well, realistically, these will back up. Yeah. So I can just say, well, instead of 45, we can say this is producing 30, right? And then I can go, okay, I'll do my math, right? And then if this was to be 45, the math would check out and say, okay, well, you know, you can only make 30 of these. But because this is actually 30 instead of 45, you can make 45 constructors for one belt of copper ingots. This is only 30 constructors though, because the copper cable stacks in 15. So with 30 of these, you've filled one Mark IV belt. So you could potentially turn all the ingots that I'm getting into 1.5 Mark IV belts, but I don't really want to dabble in half belts. So for now, we've just got an excess of copper ingots on this one floor in particular, and if we need more copper cable, I'll come back up, I'll rip out the caterum, and I'll extend it a little bit more, and we'll get the 1.5 belts out of it. But yeah, that's my dirty little secret. This floor isn't 100% efficient like all the rest, unfortunately. But sometimes you gotta make sacrifices. So, nevertheless, this has been a bit of adventure, really. Quite a large venture to get all of these constructors placed. Because every single one of them is, you know, it doesn't seem too bad when you place down one row, but each row is 10 constructors, and what this floor alone has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows, so that's 60 constructors on this floor. Another, how many on this floor? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, another 60 on this floor. Assuming this has 60. 1, 2, 3, another 60 here. And yeah, 60 there as well. So what, 60 times 4? Let's work out how many that is real quick. So I've actually plonked down 240 constructors there, well, plus the 5, so it's 245 constructors that we've built. A little bit ridiculous, honestly, and between episodes I think I might go through and cable the interior of the floors and get them working, but in this episode I would like to get these external belts all hooked up on either side and get the input and output done. So I'm going to start working on that, and I'll come back to you once I've got these external belts done. Hey guys, as promised, I've gone through and finished all of the exterior belts on both sides. I've also hooked it all the way back up to the Mega Smelter. So the Mega Constructor is ready to pretty much go online as soon as I go in and configure all of these constructors. As I said, there's 245 of them, so that's going to take some time. Also got to place all the belts and all the power for them. But, as you can see, that's all of the belts done. Everything comes neatly into these. Ready for us to ship back out into the rest of the base as we need it. So yeah, just to recap, we've got 6 belts of screws, 6 belts of wire, a belt of plates, a belt of rods, a belt of caterum, which isn't full, and a belt of cables. When I say belt of, I mean 450, and that's the production is 450 for each of those belts. So once we get a storage system set up, which will honestly, for that, we'll probably have a backlog or a buffer storage over here. And yeah, not that we'll need it, but regardless, we'll have a buffer storage, and then we'll come around and start producing our assembly factory wherever we do that. But anyway, a lot of work to do, and it's not all going to get done this episode, but thanks for watching. It's been a very, very productive episode. We've got this mega ultra constructor building done. So I'll let you all go. Have a wonderful day. I've been Some Aussie as always, and if you like what you saw, don't forget to leave a like, and if you want to see more, consider subscribing. I'll catch you later. Bye.